Hi, welcome back to Here and Hereafter. We've had a long spate of not being here this summer, and I've missed it. And today I have with me a special guest, and it's Elaine Kuzmeskus.
Yes,
Did I get it right?
yes, you did.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, Connie.
Oh, thank you, Elaine, for being here. My personal experience with Elaine started well over 10 or 13 years ago when I got a reading from her. And when I walked in, she said to me, "Give me something personal of yours." And I took off my wedding band and handed it to her. And she said, "What is this with your husband's high blood pressure?" And I just backed up because the day before he had been diagnosed. And his doctor jokingly accused me of giving him high blood pressure. So, but it shocked me. And so I've always remembered Elaine. Elaine, you do a lot with physical mediumship. How did you learn that you had a gift, or were you afraid? Like a lot of people get afraid when they're young that they have a gift and they try to block it off. Did
Sure.
you? How did you learn you had this gift?
Well, I was clairvoyant in my crib when I was about 3 years
Going in
old.
your crib.
So I went to my Hindu guy,
Yeah.
and he was bare chested,
Hmm.
and he would tell me things like how to remote view. Imagine being 3 or 4 remote viewing the future.
Really?
And he would say, "Take your fingers, put over your third eye, and concentrate, and you can see people."
Who do you think it was? A guide?
It was a spirit guide.
Oh, I was going to say, or somebody
And
had passed
no,
before you.
not
or-
related. It was a spirit
Oh,
guide, a
yeah.
Hindu guy who was very gifted in clairvoyance, and he gave me lessons every day. So
Wow.
that's how I started. But then, I became a teenager about 13. I really didn't like to get, because nobody wants to be different when you're a teenager.
You don't want to be different.
So
No.
I said, please, I don't need this. And it didn't come back until I was 18. I was taking a shower one day, and I looked at him. There was my Hindu guy. And he started teaching me again. This time he taught me about auras.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And so I wasn't afraid because I had just read the book about Edgar Casey, The
Mhm.
Sleeping Prophet by Jess Stern.
Mhm.
And I said, somebody else sees auras, talks to spirits, so I'm not crazy. So I felt more comfortable. And that book, the book on Edgar Casey, did a lot of good for people that were psychic.
And what was the book's name?
The Sleeping Prophet by Jess
Oh,
Stern.
Edgar Casey. Yes,
Yeah.
he was
Excellent.
excellent, and nobody can say that he did not have a gift. You
Oh,
have to
he
read
did.
that book. Woo.
And he was reluctant to use it.
Reluctant to use it. Yeah, and
because he was afraid of hurting people.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a good man. Edgar Casey
Yeah.
was a good man. So yeah, I did read that. I
It's a
did read
wonderful
that
book.
book.
Yeah.
When did you start giving? When did you start? We want to talk about physical mediumship and science. I think that the veil between here and there is getting real thin.
It is.
And I think, just for instance, our government has recognized, yeah, there's things flying around out
I
there.
think it's wonderful.
We don't know what it is. So it's like, okay, there are things in this world that we don't understand, but that are happening. We use what, a tenth of our brain or something?
Absolutely.
Like, so what would happen if you opened that and,
We have quite a bit.
so, you know, it can't be proved by science, but you proved it to me, not just by the ring. That could have been a good guess, but it wasn't. It was right dead on. But by something you told me that only myself and one other person knew, because it was very disturbing and it happened with a family member. And when you were taping, you stopped the tape and you looked at me and said, da 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 da. And then I said, thank you, because I was going to share that tape and I didn't want anybody
No,
else to
of
know
course
this
not.
about the person. It was their personal journey. So, to me, mediumships have been proved over and over
It
again.
has been,
Over and over again.
absolutely. And they've done wonderful studies at the University of Arizona.
Uh-huh.
One of my colleagues, Ann Gateman, was part of the study. What they did is they had people come in and never met, and she was only allowed to give messages, and the person that was receiving the message could only say yes or no.
Okay.
And she had like an 85 to 90% accuracy.
That's not guess factor.
No, it was a great,
You gotta-
great medium. If you watch the old series Psychic Detective, she did a lot of Psychic Detective work.
I think I have seen her. Yeah, she solved a couple of
She's very
murders and
good.
stuff like this.
Yeah, and Anne Galen came from an Amish family, and she had this gift.
And I wondered how that works with
Can
the
you
Amish. They're
imagine?
very,
As a teenager, she left the family and went to high school on her own.
Mhm.
And of course, being a young kid on your own, working as a nurse's aide or whatever,
Right.
was very depressing.
Right.
And Anne tells the story in her books. That's why I can relate it. She got so depressed she became suicidal,
Oh.
and she took sleeping pills. But she woke up, and then she went out for a ride. She didn't even have a license, but she borrowed a car.
Oh, I get it.
She was pretty plucky. And then the car kept stopping at this particular house in Casadega, Florida, and it belonged to a medium by the name of Wilbur Hall. So she finally got out and said, "My car keeps stalling." And he said, "You know, I've been waiting for you. I'm supposed to teach you mediumship." And she became one of his students. And then she wasn't afraid of her gift. And she became a nurse. She married and had a daughter. And she just became one of the top mediums in the country.
It's a great burden sometimes, I would imagine, to somebody to get all this stuff flooding in, and some of it's not so pleasant, but I guess you have to learn to, yeah, to box it in. This is what I can handle, this is what I can't let myself dwell on. What is one of your most remarkable mediumship?
Well, it's a lot of things. As I was saying earlier, we were chatting about, maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was in East Hartford and I did a program for Halloween for the East Hartford Senior Center. And at the end, my hostess said, "Well, I'd like you to meet someone. She has a question for you." And this delightful, petite, elderly person, lady handed me her ring because I do psychometry. I read the energy from the ring. And she says, "I have a question." I said, "Okay, let me have your ring. I'll concentrate." And she said, "Will my son be successful in his bid for office?" And I held it, I thought about it. I said, "I feel really successful. He's going to do great." And it was Mrs. Larson, John Larson.
How,
She was so happy.
Yeah.
And it was truly still working.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that eased her mother's mind. I guess politics are something that would be
Right.
tough. You are also associated with the New England School of Metaphysics?
Yes.
Is that in Bloomfield? Is that?
No, it's in Suffield, Connecticut, and online. We do Zoom
Oh,
classes.
okay. Oh, so
And
Suffield, okay.
I sometimes do classes in colleges, like as Nine-Head Community
Okay.
College.
Okay.
And I started teaching in 1997 because I had just done the official Houdini seance in Haddam. And I thought, now I've got enough people interested, I think I can do a school. And it was wonderful. I did radio shows, I got students in.
Well, I know you've been on, not Good Morning America.
Yeah.
What are some of the, tell us about some of the local.
Great Day, Connecticut with Scott Haney and Melissa Cole. That was a lot of fun. And they were wonderful hosts and hostesses. I really enjoyed them both. So I started the school and we did very well. I probably been about 15 mediums that have graduated from the school that are working and they're very successful.
Wow.
I'm very proud of our students.
Good. So who can, you can do in-person classes and online classes?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody is interested further in, you think you have a talent there, or you're worried that you have a talent, maybe you want to go there. Yeah. It's the New England School of Metaphysics, Suffield, Connecticut.
And you can find it by just going to www.theartofmediumship.
The Art of Mediumship.
That's the easiest way. All the classes, and I also have a media section, which we post all.
It tells you, okay.
Tells all the places I've been. And I also will post if I've written an article or done a video, I'll post it for people to enjoy.
And of course, this video will be going up.
Yes,
this
I'd love to share.
Segment will be going up too. The art, there it is, the art of mediumship. So you're nationally recognized. You have 8 books. When did you start writing?
Well, as I said, after I did the Houdini seance, I realized I had more recognition nationally. So I had tons of lecture notes. So I thought I really should put something in a book. And at the time I was teaching astrology at Asnunta. And my 4 students, they wouldn't even look up. They were taking notes. I said, all the notes. So the first book was Astrology 101, Soul Cycles. And then I said, well, I'd like to do something on mediumship. And I took my notes and I did some research. And I thought I would do something on parapsychology. So I started calling publishers. And they said, nobody wants to hear about parapsychology.
I imagine that they are afraid to touch that. But with everybody out now, like John Edwards.
Well, now it's 25 years ago.
Yeah, be easier,
So they said, no, nobody's going to read a book on parapsychology. So I'd already written 300 pages. Imagine how I felt. So I said to Tina Skinner at Shipper Publishers, well, what do they want to read? She said, ghosts. She said, would you like to write a book on ghosts? And I thought, well, I'll get back to you. I didn't even own a book on ghosts.
Come up with some material, but they probably came to you.
Well, I called her back and I said, I will write it if I can put 3 of my own chapters in on parapsychology. She said, that's okay. So I had a third of the book written. And then I did the research and went to 31 towns in Connecticut. I used my rods here.
Yeah, would you explain these for
These
people?
are
I mean, a lot of
wonderful.
people see
I have to
dowsing
tell
for
people,
water.
these are dowsing. Now remember, you don't hold them like at this end. You hold them at the round end here. People, and what it does is you can ask questions. And if you once you get them going, you can ask yes or no questions. But I use them to find ghost energy, and I'll walk around. And if they start to cross someplace, I'll know if there's spirit communication there. And one of the places that I also use is I use an EMF meter. Over here. It's just it shows the electromagnetic energy.
Mhm.
It comes in very handy. It saves a lot of energy. I was at Hillston, which is the Philip Hope Reynolds Mansion
Mhm.
in Farmington, and they were very gracious. I called and left a message, and it was in summertime. It was around July. In about August, I'm sitting on my back porch having a glass of iced tea, and all of a sudden, this very genteel lady, now I'm 5'3", she must have been about 5'1", came up and back of me, a spirit lady, and she gently said to me, your wish will be granted. And the phone rang, and it was the curator from the Hillstead Museum saying, yes, you may come on Monday and do your research. That was sitting, I thought it was great because she was so interested in parapsychology.
I think more and more people, first of all, as we age, I think we are looking at a whole lot less. I know we are looking at a whole lot less behind us, a whole lot more behind us than in front of us.
Absolutely.
We have all lost people. I was joking with
yeah.
you about buying greeting sympathy cards and six packs every time I turn around. I'm at a funeral. It's very depressing. But I think that you start to question more. Not just, have I done everything I need to do here? Have I accomplished what I was sent here to do? And sometimes, what do you want me to do? Sometimes you get lost, and I think
that's important to think
people
that
are
way.
more open to those questions now.
Well, listen, I'm a spiritualist, and we believe that when people pass over, they continue to exist past the change called death. And when you go over, it's like a party on the other side. In fact, sometimes we celebrate the day a person dies as their new birthday. And it's not anything to be afraid of, but it's good to be able to finish, complete whatever you need to do.
It is, because when I did come to you, the reason I came to you is I had a daughter who committed suicide. And, some of the information you were getting about her was comforting because, with a suicide, and my viewers know this, with a suicide, it's always, what could I have done? What didn't I do? What did I miss? What did I not do? What did I say? But, and now I tell people who are in that situation, there's nothing you could have done if somebody's determined.
Absolutely.
It's not on you. I mean, there's nothing you could have done. Unless you handed them the gun. I mean, that's the only thing you gotta say.
Even in locked units in a hospital, people manage to commit suicide.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what they are. They'll try 2 or 3 times.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because I think knowing that people continue past the change called death can give people who are grieving some solace.
Yeah.
And I always say these people are victims of suicidal thoughts.
Oh yeah. And then to me, it's kind of like you got out. I'm here handling the back. First dream I ever had after she died was we were trying to get on a plane and she walked away, and I remember screaming, "What am I supposed to do with all this baggage? How am I supposed to handle all this baggage?" But so I knew that it was a sign. I'm not sick. I knew that was a sign, and it was really went on and on like that. And then I came to see you. But have you ever had, aside from Mr. Larson's?
I just had my This was on Halloween.
Yeah, on Halloween of all time.
Yeah.
Do you still do private readings in your home?
Yes, I do, and I usually book about a month in advance.
About a month in
Please
advance.
call if you're interested, and I also do readings on Zoom.
The phone and Zoom and over the phone.
Also, yeah.
Okay. So we know how you started, and I want to know the one thing I was really the medium who baffled Houdini. You have here. You have conducted seances, and the one that really jumped out at me was the 1997 official Houdini. What was that about?
Well, first of all, I was invited to conduct it. You were selected. You don't call up and say you want. They were selected.
Okay, that's an honor.
It was a great honor, but I was kind of iffy about it because I thought I don't want it to be hokey. I don't want it to be making fun of mediums or anything like that. So when they invited me, I said, I'd like to think about it. I'd call you back. So I decided not to do it. And I was going out to lunch with my husband, combing my hair, and I'm getting ready in the mirror. And who appears but Arthur Ford, who's a friend of my teacher's. He's a very famous medium. And he said, Houdini has a message for you. So I felt I had to do it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So I called and I said I would do it. But I was very careful. I did not meet anybody involved with it. I came a week before to look at the stage and look at that, but I didn't talk to any of the participants.
So it's no prior.
No,
Yeah.
because I didn't want people to say I was getting information from the cast. No way.
Right.
Everything that came through spirit. And so the first thing we did is I did a readings for the audience. And I think it was like 100% people recognized the spirits I brought through. So that was a good start.
Wow.
But then when we were at the seance table, which was round, there were 12 people. And I started reading for the man who played Houdini. And I said to Timothy, I said, you really never did magic and you were very nervous about doing it. He says, yeah. I said, well, Houdini was right in back of you, helping you. He said, I felt somebody was there. And I said, about a week before the play was going to start, your left shoulder, you had a problem with it and you weren't sure you could go on. He said, yes. So that was evidence.
Yeah.
And then, but unfortunately, the only thing that the Houdini Society will take as a sign that Houdini is there is if his spirit actually walks on stage and opens the handcuffs.
Wait a minute.
And that's not going to happen.
If the spirit
Houdini actually walks on stage and opens the handcuffs. They didn't tell me that before I did it, or I would have said no.
I don't think I've ever been, and I've gone to mediums again, but
Yeah.
part because of my daughter's death, part because I'm
Yeah.
interested because I had so many experiences young,
Yeah.
like you,
Yeah.
blocked them out, didn't want to talk about them. And
Sure.
when I finally got an answer, I actually said to the person that was talking to me in my head, and I'm not schizophrenic, but we've
No,
talked
no,
about
yeah,
this,
yeah.
stop, you're scaring me.
Yeah.
And they stopped.
Sure.
For a lot of years, they stopped because I was terrified. I thought I was losing my mind.
It's tough.
you
Well,
know?
I know Houdini was there because I had a cold, and on Tuesday, it was a Thursday night, I said to my guides, I said, I'm going to be bringing Houdini through in 2 days, and he hasn't even come through and talked to me. So I was going over some research, and I looked up, and there in the doorway of my bedroom was Harry Houdini. And he was dressed in a fabulous 1920s tux, and he just looked in and said, and he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Well, we are a lot of times when we contact spiritualists or mediums or anybody in the parapsychological field, they're afraid to come on here. And I said, no, this is not to be trying to take it apart. We believe this is.
Oh,
what
no,
we
that's fine. But even if they're
believe,
skeptical, I don't mind as long
We're
as
not
you're
trying to
fair.
disprove it.
Yeah,
We
I
know
just
we've
do
all
want
had
to be fair.
experiences. Yeah.
You want to be fair.
Yeah. So
But
that's
the Houdini Society was very skeptical.
well because they might have had a lot of people.
Probably, I don't know. They were highly skeptical because they also tested me on stage. They didn't tell me that either. So the man that was in charge said, I have something here. I want you to tell me what it is.
Was that?
It was
you
an
holding
envelope.
it?
So I hold it. I said, well, it's a letter and it's from Houdini. And I said it was in a glass case. He goes, no. He says it was, but it wasn't in a glass case. Then he told me afterwards he didn't know where it was. I'm like, it probably was.
Would you? Yeah, I mean, if it was being protected,
I
and that was
know.
your up, right?
So I'm like, whoa,
Oh my
my
gosh.
goodness. And so they were kind of setting me up. But, I did put, and also I said I would only do it if I could do a readings for the audience to warm them up. A week before, he said, no, you're not going to do those readings. I said, well, I'm not going to do it. So I had signed a contract.
He's like, what did you want me here to do? You know
No.
what I do. You know
No,
what I do.
I
You
just-
pick me up.
I was firm. I really was firm.
I
Because I did not want it to be a sideshow. I wanted it to be a
Right.
sincere
Yeah.
evidence of the survival of
Right.
people. That's
Right.
what I wanted.
Right. So you do you work with the school. You do readings.
Mhm.
Also asking because somebody asked me, would you appear at a fundraiser? We pay a fundraiser, but
Absolutely, yes.
we would have to ask how many people. So, for instance, not just the fundraiser. How many people in a room are just enough for you?
Well, in order
I
to
mean,
do a
without being
private
overwhelming,
sale, sure, it has to be 6. I'll do 6 to 12.
6 to 12.
If it's a fundraiser, it depends on the amount of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're saying if there's a bunch of people in a room, 6 to 12, you would not be over.
Oh, no, I
Do
do
you
that
get all
the
this
time.
competing information?
No, not at all. I have my guides. A medium has 5 guides. You have your joy guide who keeps a light atmosphere. You have your spirit teacher, your personal guide, your spirit chemist, and then usually there's an American Indian to give protection. My American Indian guide is White Cloud, and he often comes in when I do physical phenomena. So when I go to a group, we sit in a circle, I do a little talk, and then I go around and do a mini, like a 10-minute reading for each person.
Okay.
It's a larger group. We take a break after an hour. You see what's that? Yeah.
Years ago, I had John Ford, John Ford came to someone's house down in Philadelphia.
Lovely. Yeah.
And there was about 14 of us. And he wanted us to write our names on a piece of paper and pencil, fold it up and hand it to him. And everybody went in and they came out. They're like, wow, blown away.
Yeah.
Because he had never met any of us. And so I give him
Good.
my paper and he looked at me and handed the paper back.
Yeah.
He said, I can't read you.
Oh my goodness.
Like, why? Do I have no future? I mean, I was
That's a
blown
little
away.
scary. Yeah.
I was blown away. So I went to somebody else and they said, you were just tougher to read. You're a Scorpio. You were just tougher to read, you know? But that's what he should have been kinder and
I
said.
think he
She
should.
said, I can't read you because either you have a block, something, tell me anything.
You
I'm
mean
sure.
John Edwards?
No, John Ford
John
was a
Ford.
very famous years ago
Yes.
when I was in my 20s. So
Oh,
I'm in my
okay.
70s now.
That's right.
50 years ago.
Well-
He's probably going, John. He's
Well,
probably.
My teacher Gladys Custis only had one person she couldn't read. It was a woman. She lived on
And
the
why
Cape.
would that be? Why
Well-
would you, if you couldn't read somebody, why?
Well, this will explain why. The woman drove all the way from Boston to the Cape for her reading. She was like in her 70s. And
Wow.
Gladys was very kind. She closed her eyes. She did her psychology. All she saw was a black shade coming down. So she was flabbergasted. She said, I'm sorry, I'm just not psychic today. She gave her the ring back and didn't charge her for it. A week later, she died.
Oh,
So Gladys said there was nothing to tell her.
I thought maybe I had no future.
No,
You know, but
no.
basically
There's
you
no
wonder
reason.
why somebody can't read you, have no
Yeah.
future. But anything you want to talk about? Yeah, I think
Yes.
I'm going to talk about your books before
Yes,
this.
my last book is a lot of fun. I spent 15 years on it. It's research I did on physical phenomena, which would be psychic photography, electronic voice phenomena, and of course, materialization, which was a lot of fun. And I have some pictures to show you from the book.
Okay, you have, this is an org photo? Is
Yeah,
that what that
That
is?
is, this is one I took about a year ago at Lilydale. I don't know if you could
Where
see
is that at? Where did you take that at?
Lilydale Assembly is the largest spiritualist camp in the United States. And I looked out, I could see all these Native Americans over the Lake Casadega, and they showed me the orbs.
Wow.
Could see
The
them.
largest spiritualist, where's the largest spiritualist?
It's in Lilydale, is in
Oh, Lily, New York?
outside of upstate New York. It's
And-
about an hour from Buffalo.
yeah, don't they go south of Lilydale?
Yeah, well, Casadega is the
That's in Casadega.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Casadega. Well, that's interesting. So did you have a feeling or did you physically
No,
see it? or-
I had been there to do a program, which is
Okay.
nice. And then I had been there many times and I'd seen the spirits. And what I did is I said, well, you have to talk to the spirits, you know, you just can't. It's like anybody, you're gonna invite them.
Mhm.
So I had my camera, I went at dusk, and I said, if you're here, I need to see you. I'd like to take a picture. I saw all these lights and American Indians over Lake Casadega.
Wow.
And I shot about 5 or 6, but that was my favorite. I've done a lot of psychic photography, and I have some pictures to show you. I don't know if you can put them up now.
Okay. Well, he'll probably put them on the Howard.
If you don't, I can.
I think he'll put them on the screen after, he's going to integrate them, I
Oh,
think.
good, good.
Yeah, he'll
Show you a
integrate
few.
them. I don't think he can do it at this moment in
Let me
time.
see if I could show you another one that's very interesting that I think you would enjoy. I did a lot of research on spirit cards.
Well, that's beautiful.
Isn't that? Can everybody
Beautiful.
see that? I hope. That's a spirit card I received from Reverend Hoyt Robinette. And this is the most. I have a whole chapter on spirit writings and spirit cards.
Do you do spirit writing?
I do flame cards where you put them over a flame and you get messages.
Now, how do you feel about Ouija boards?
I think they're a little bit different. Some people like Jane Roberts had a very good experience.
I'd be afraid to use one. But I did once, and I got an answer that again scared that crap out of me. It's like,
It depends. It's like opening the door and say anyone come in.
yeah.
Now Jane Roberts was writing a book on ESP, so she was a very serious researcher, and she got the name of a man, John. I think his name was Winters was his last name. She got his address, the fact that he had been a teacher in Elmira, New York, and she did the research because if somebody owns property, they have records. And school systems keep records of people, and it turned out to be true. And she used it very successfully. But the average person is like opening your door and say, anyone come in? I don't think it's a good idea.
I think teenagers should stay away from
I
it too.
think
They're so impressed. Well, I had my house broken into down outside of Philadelphia,
Okay.
and there's quite a bit of jewelry and things
Yeah.
were gone. And so I had a Ouija board, and I'm just playing around with it. It's like, do you know who broke in? And they gave me a name. They gave me a name of Evan. And I said to my daughter later, do you know any evidence? Because it looked like a kid's job. Like they left my
Sure.
checks, but they took
Right. it could be,
obvious,
yeah.
they left the checks, they left
They
it
took
was a
dressing
sloppy
rolls,
job.
too.
They left stuff they couldn't, take credit cards, they couldn't
Yeah.
use those. So it said Evan, and she said, I got a friend at school called Evan, Mom, but he's a good kid. I don't think it was him. And kept saying Evan, and that there were two. So I put it away. Evans was the guy's last name who
Wow.
broke into my
Good
house.
for you.
And there were two of them because I found out 2 weeks later when
Yeah.
I was driving back home, he was trying it again. It was him and another one. So it gave me the correct answer. There were two.
Absolutely.
Evan.
But you were serious too.
But I was serious, but then I thought, maybe I shouldn't do this again. Put it under the bed.
I would rather people start with psychometry, where you hold an object and it has to belong to the person, and they can ask a question. And what happens is you begin to pick up their energy, and you just start with that. That's a very safe way to begin. Another safe way is dreams. Most people are psychic in their dreams. I wrote a book called Dream Zone.
So it's a message, not just. I mean, if somebody told me if you remember clearly your dreams when you wake up, and I do, it's like a
Good for you.
movie. That it's a message, not a goofy particle,
yeah.
particulate thing floating around your head.
Yeah. Well, some people's dreams are like reading yesterday's newspaper, not very helpful.
Yeah.
But if they are vivid, they're in color, and you have a spiritual force like a nun or a teacher, they're a message.
Yeah, mine are always in color. Somebody says, "Wow," I said, "No, I don't get much rest at night."
Oh, you're a natural psychic.
I gotta come to you. I gotta come back to you. So funny. I'm in the ladies' room and I'm like, I know that woman. Why do I know that one from?
The minute you spoke, I
10,
recognized your
13 years,
voice.
They
Yeah,
recognize
okay,
each
yeah.
other. It's like, well, I didn't think we were going to be here that early. That was good.
I mean, I come early because I wasn't sure of the address.
Yeah, you got
I
to
said
set
it
up
right
now.
away.
It was good of you, and I do appreciate. So you want to tell the camera your website, how to get a hold of you, and anything you want to
Sure,
talk.
absolutely. My website is Art of Mediumship, and it has the classes listed. It also has information if you'd like a private reading or just schedule a group session, or if you want to schedule an event, I'm happy to do that. I also have classes, so every month I post the new classes and events. There's 3 in October, and we have our Zoom classes. So I'd be happy to work with people who want to enhance their spiritual and their mediumship skills.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to show up.
Oh, good.
I'm going to show up. I definitely, it's like, I don't think when I came to you the first time, you had the teaching classes. I don't think.
It started
a lot of years ago, 13 years ago, easy.
Well, the way that happened is I was teaching parapsychology at Assunta Community College, and the students wanted me to teach mediumship. I thought, I don't think the college is ready for that. So that's why I started the school.
Well, it's good that as we've progressed, and we don't question things so much that we don't understand. I think
absolutely.
more people are willing to, again, like I said, our government, and it was so funny. It's like they finally admitted, yeah, we were not quite sure what that is. And everybody went, oh, Mom, it's like, it's not like we're under attack. It's like, well.
Well, I think it's a very sad time we're in right now.
It's a tough time in the world. And I keep wondering, all those people that said that they were abducted, do you believe them now? You know what I mean? Do you believe
Pray is what I would say. And read the news. Don't stick your head in the sand. We need to be informed citizens. Absolutely. There were 3 presidents that were interested in the psychics. Abraham Lincoln had a Connecticut medium, Nettie Colbert.
He was a spiritualist, wasn't he? And
he's a believer. He's a believer.
Yeah, Reagan's wife was very into that.
He saved his life, I believe. She had his chart done by a San Francisco socialite, astrologer, Joan Quigley.
Mm.
And every time he had to be out, she would have his chart done. And there was an assassination attempt, but he did dodge the bullet, even though it was very close. So that was good.
Yeah.
And then we also have other people very interested. Hillary Clinton had Jean Houston to the White House.
I wasn't sure about her, but I hadn't heard about.
She was doing like channeling.
Nancy Reagan. I knew. If it's like anything, use it for good.
Absolutely, use it for good.
Use it for good and get comfort from it. So many people, I think most people go to mediums because they have a major loss. I think that's probably what starts it.
Right.
Like, are they there? Are they okay? Is there a there? And people like you give gave me a lot of comfort.
It's very
You gave me a lot of
important, yeah.
comfort. So I thank you for that, Elaine, and thank you for showing up
It's a
today.
pleasure. Thank you for having me, Connie.
And I will be
Everyone.
calling you.
I'd love to have you. And I would also mention that I keep an astrology blog on my website, The Art of Mediumship. So if you want to know where the new or full moon is, or the Scorpio of the month, go to www.
Look for her
The Art
books.
of Mediumship. Yes.
Yeah,
thank
look
you
for
so
her.
much.
I'm going to, and that one of them you said took you 15
years of research.
A lot of work.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy everything about parapsychology. It's very interesting. Higher knowledge.
Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. We have next time me talking about reincarnation of a woman called Seti in Egypt. Proven. So we'll talk to you next time.
Can't wait. That sounds like a great talk.
I love. I mean.